Hi, DIY Jeff here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to replace the heater element on a Samsung front load dryer.
DIY Jeff, a place to find helpful how-tos and honest reviews.
While there is as many models of Samsung dryers as there is sand in the sea, the procedure is fairly similar for most dryers. How you access the heater element may be a little different on which screws your particular dryer has that you have to remove, but ultimately you want to be able to pull off the front face of the dryer. I've seen some videos where it's shown that you have to pull the heating element out through the back of the dryer, but I'll show you how you can get around that. It will save you on the total repair time of the project. I've put the model number for the unit I'm working on today in the title and also down in the description so that you can reference it if need be. I'll also put a link in the description where I found the best price on this particular heater element. I'll show you step by step the easiest and quickest way to get the job done. The best diagnosis to know if your heater element needs to be replaced is if there's no heat coming from the dryer. If your clothes are getting hot but they're not drying, you could have a clogged vent, and that would need to be checked first. The first place to check would be to look behind the dryer at the bottom where the outlet vent is and see if that's clogged. If that's okay, it is possible that you have lint all the way up through the vent, up where it vents out of your house. If that's the case, you might need to call a professional. But in the case of this dryer I'm repairing today, the dryer is not producing heat at all. The total repair time is about an hour and can be done by just about anyone. So let's get started.
Here's a look at the dryer I'll be working on. It's a Samsung front load model DV40J3000EW front/A2. Before beginning the repair, unplug the dryer from the wall. Next, gently walk the dryer back so you have enough room to access the rear vent. Depending on the clamp that was used to install the vent hose, it could require pliers to squeeze the clamp, or as in this case, a flathead screwdriver to unloosen it. Once loose, slide the vent hose off. A quick and easy way to loosen the top cover is to remove the two rear brackets that hold it to the back of the dryer. There is one Phillips head screw holding each bracket in place. When removing the bracket, take special note of its orientation for reassembly later. With the back of the top loose, gently lift up and apply slight pressure by pulling back and up to release the two retaining clips. We won't be removing the whole top completely. We just want to access the three Phillips head screws that were hidden and remove them. Using a wide flathead screwdriver, push down and back to release the retaining tab on each side. The front of the washer will now release by pulling up and towards you. But in order to remove it completely, there is a wiring clip for the dryer door that needs to be removed. This can be done by pulling straight back on the clip. With the clip removed, the front will now come off and can be set aside. At the bottom right front of the dryer is a wiring clip that must be separated. Now you can start pulling the heater assembly. The screws are all Phillips heads, and you'll start by removing the one that holds the assembly to the support bracket. There are two screws holding the front of the support bracket to the dryer frame. The bracket has to come out in order to access the heater assembly. Using a short Phillips screwdriver, remove the two screws at the back of the bracket. You'll have to do this by feel, as you won't be able to see them.
The bracket then slides out.
There are 6 spade connectors that must be removed in order to pull the heater assembly out. They're on pretty tight, so I found wedging a flathead screwdriver between the connector and the terminal and gently wiggling and prying worked best to get them off. There are 2 connectors in the front, 2 in the middle, and 2 in the back. With the connectors removed, the assembly will slide right out. The assembly must be disassembled to access the heating element. There are 4 Phillips head screws on one side and 3 on the other. Two screws hold in the fuse, and 2 that hold in the thermostat. The assembly then opens up. Now we need to remove the heating element connectors. First, unscrew the Phillips head mounting screw. To pull the connectors out, you'll need to use a pair of pliers to bend back the small tab on each connector. Then they'll slide out. With the heating element free from the housing, you can inspect the old element. Usually what happens is there is a break in the coil wire. If you don't see a visible break, grab a voltmeter and put it on the ohms setting to check for continuity in the wires. You can see the circuit is not complete. Here's the new element. Using the same test, the meter shows a complete circuit, which means it's good. You're ready for reassembly. Push the spade connectors through the housing and insert them in the plastic retainer. Using your pliers again, bend the tabs to hold the connectors in place. Secure the plastic retainer with the screw. Now comes one of the more difficult parts of the job, but I'll share an easy way to put the assembly back together. Start on the side with the 3 screws and line up the top and bottom housing holes with the holes in the heater element and screw them down. On the other side, insert the screw through the top of the housing, then line it up with the designated hole in the heating element, and then finally push it through the bottom of the housing in the correct hole. Do this for all 4 screws. Reattach the fuse and the thermometer. You're now ready to reinstall it back in the dryer. Reattach all 6 spade connectors. When you remove the connectors originally, make sure to take note as to which connectors go to which terminals so that you reinstall them correctly. With the housing connected, line it up with the vent port hole and make sure it seats. Lift up the front end and slide the supporting mount in. There are small tabs that slip into the dryer frame to help line up the screw holes. This part's a little tough because it's done by feel, but start the rear support screws by hand and tighten them with a screwdriver. Repeat the steps for the front 2 screws as well. The last bracket screw attaches the bracket to the heater element housing. Connect the wiring harness. To reconnect the dryer front, the bottom sits down on the frame and use the sides to make sure it's spaced correctly. Connect the door wiring clip as well. Install the 3 top bracket screws. Line up the top by placing the back in place first, then push down and the retaining clips will hold the front. When you reinstall the back support brackets, take notice of the bracket's orientation and how it slips into the lower slot and then flips up. Slide the dryer into place and connect the vent hose, reversing the process of taking it off. Slide the dryer all the way in and then plug it into the wall. Run the dryer through a short cycle. I ran it for about a minute, stopped it, and stuck my hand inside just to make sure it was hot. That's it. That's all there is to it.
I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Also, click the bell icon next to the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time I upload a new video.
DIY Jeff, a YouTube channel where I'm not gonna lie to you.